Thank you for joining us, Be Extraordinary Podcast, our internal version. This is going to be all about sales. I'm joined by Nick Kowalczyk, senior agent over with the Eckberg team in St. Pete, Florida. Murdering it. Nick, how are you today, buddy?
Doing well. Doing well, really well. Beautiful day. Best day of the year so far.
I'm going to tell
Can't
you what,
complain.
Florida's showing off right now, even in Orlando. Man, I'm happy we're connecting. This is, the second time that we've been able to do this, and a little bit different because we're about probably a year and a half after that. But this is going to be sales, right? So salespeople eat your heart out. People that are hungry for stuff, ambitious, eat your heart out. This is a guy that is doing it, and doing it consistently over a long period of time. So I always like to think about if I'm listening to something, it's like why would I listen, right? This $1 million in new business premium a year producer, somebody who's not only writing in the personal line space, homeowners insurance and other lines, but is writing a lot of auto, 131 autos this past fiscal year, but right now at a clip in the last 3 months, maybe four, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, you're averaging like 20 new business autos a month, which is a big deal within our ecosystem. What's shifted in the wind for you, man?
Yeah, honestly, it's doing the extra mile, and you can get caught up because how our business is kind of ran. Not to get too long-winded, but we get our referrals from someone who's buying a home, and the last thing that's on their mind is probably an auto policy, right? They're dealing with mortgage companies and realtors and processors and things like that. And when you get to the insurance agent, they're pretty much fed up. They're tired. They just want this process to go smoothly. So I think what happens is a lot of agents, they just kind of they fulfill the pain point in the client and get them the homeowners insurance and think, I'll go back and I'll get that auto a little bit later. But I think, and I used to do that too, and sometimes still do. It's very easy to get caught up in it, but it's sticking to the process and being kind of head on with knowing that, hey, we're going to knock this out, and then you're going to forget about insurance for a year. Like we're not you're going to leave the ball in my court. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to make your life easier. And the more that you do that, and the more that you see that that's happening, and the more clients that you help, it's like a snowball effect, really. It just keeps getting bigger. It's just it's easier to do the more and more times you do it.
So do you state your intentions of if I'm coming to you, I'm referred, we connect on the homeowners insurance, I'm closing in a couple weeks. Walk me through how you set the tone for how you're going to help me or guide me through the process, how it comes about with the auto and where it's related. Is that a while I'm closing? Does it depend? Is that an after closing? I'm going to follow up and you follow through. Bring me in a little bit to kind of what's been working lately.
Yeah, so when you're on that first initial call with the client, you're taking down all the information they have. You're going through some of the application questions that that come up the most before diving into the full app. And then, within that, you're asking about claims, homeowners claims. Okay, what about auto claims? Okay, now their mindset's already on a little bit of auto, and you're like, okay, well, who do you have for auto insurance? We can, take a look at that as well. And they are usually receptive to it. Sometimes they're a little bit apprehensive because what I was talking about earlier about having a lot on their plate at that moment. But it's just kind of like easing their pain point, saying, hey, look, this is going to be really easy. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not going to mess up your closing. Chances are we're going to end up saving you money anyway. And let's just do the insurance at one time anyway. So, each year it's all going
Mm-hmm.
to come into effect at
Mm-hmm.
this time. I'll be your full-time agent for everything. So if you have a question about anything, home, auto, whatever the case may be, flood, you call me directly and we can talk about anything you need. Instead of jumping through hoops about, hey, who am I with here? Who am I with there? Just setting the expectation and setting the expectation and letting them know, like, hey, this is the easiest way to do it. And I think that when we have belief as agents saying those things to the client, they also believe it too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's true though. It's honestly the truth. We have the best products out there, and it's just about going through the process with them and taking a little bit extra time,
Yep.
you know.
And I would ask you this because you used the word belief. I heard easy, make it easy, but then there's a level of belief that seems to come through the phone. How would you, to a younger, newer agent, how did you or how would you recommend building your belief? How do you build your belief?
Just reps, just seeing it live, doing it, getting the one, maybe the one client's like super receptive to it, like, yeah, let's do the home and auto. And you're like, okay, cool. You do it and you're like, oh wow, man, just saved them a
Mm,
bunch of money. This is the belief that I need. Now you're believing, now you're like, hey, I really can help you, And it's kind of getting those auto leads now are a little bit more organic than they used to be, where it seemed more like a pain or more of a, we might have the best option, might not have the best option, but now it's a lot more, that like to your point, yeah, the belief is there, and it's a lot easier to have those conversations and help out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and there's also like I just wrote down anchoring stories. I remember at least when I was in the position, when you have those wins and you have those stories, you can now kind of anchor that and go, oh, now I can use that story, whether it's for my own belief or even telling the client that I just helped somebody a few weeks ago. You won't believe what I was able to do with them. Would you be opposed to this? Or let's talk about this. And you're guiding them along the way. What do they say? Stories, facts tell, stories sell, kind of thing. It's no cliche. That's reality. That's how we're wired. So,
Hmm.
I was actually talking to uh, one of the agency owners, the Eckberg team, Matt, before this call. I said, "Man, what is Nick doing?" And he said, Nick holds two things very simultaneously well. He comes off as extremely willing to help, but he also comes off as hungry and relentless. And I think, how do you hold those two things when you approach your day or you approach interactions with client to where you seem like you're extremely responsive, but you're also not afraid to guide the client of, here are my expectations on how I can help you, and we're going to do it all, and we're not just going to do one, whether it's now or after. How does that kind of come through?
Yeah. Yep. Great questions. So like, I don't like the after part anymore. I feel that, and sometimes that's the case where if a client is very hard on not, shopping the auto at that point, there has to be some type of agreement where you don't
Hmm.
lose them, right? So
Hmm.
it's a kind of a game that you have to play, and there's just like a drive that I think that I have that I why I'm pretty successful in sales is because there's like a competition aspect involved, and sales is cool, man. It's like besides being an athlete, like your sole production is going to be based off of your sole income, right?
Hmm.
So if
Hmm.
you play well on the field, you're going to get paid more, get a bigger contract. You play well in the field here, you sell more, you're going to get paid more. So it's just like, I have a drive to kind of have a good lifestyle that I want and look forward to, and it's just like you gotta push, and it's funny, I hate losing more than I like winning. So it's just like, you guys do a really good job with the competitions that you do through the agency that really pushes the team to kind of just like keep going better and better and better. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well. But yeah, it's just, you have to be willing to put in that work, and like willing to ask the questions, get a little bit uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, you're going to help out. That's what you have to kind of believe.
Yeah, it's almost like you just mentioned, like, I was thinking, what does that look like? And you said just willing to get uncomfortable, right? Like, let me ask that question when I don't necessarily know how it's going to land. I kind of just want to take care of their need. But then it's like, well, I am weighing my I'm way more okay with being uncomfortable asking a question than I am with not making the money I want to make. Right. Like, so we were at one of our summer bashes and I got a chance to hang out with Nick on the float in the river at Wekiwa Springs. And I was just like peppering him with questions. And I said, hey man, like, what's the difference, do you think, between, the producer that is kind of struggling to make it? Maybe he's doing okay, but in the back of his mind, he's not making the money, or she's not making the money they want to. It's a story as old as time in sales, to where you kind of have that salesperson that's like, man, is this worth it? And then you have the outlying salesperson that says, hey, no, I know the game. I'm playing it to a high level. And I was like, what is the difference? And one of your answers was, man, I want things. I want more for my family. I want nice things. I like nice things. I know that, I have a dream to one day maybe be on the water or buy a boat or have another rental property, right? So you clearly have this vision in your mind personally that you're viewing and directly correlating your production as a sales professional to going to get those things. And it
Yeah.
seems like a natural connection that I think you were looking at me and saying, hey, like, I don't know. It's just I want these things and I don't understand why people don't have, they don't want these things, right? You didn't
Yeah.
say it directly, but that's kind of the way I perceived your response.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And it's all about what you're doing with your time, right? So, if I have a little bit of downtime, or the quotes aren't coming in like they were last month, it's just, you kind of sit there and you reflect and you're like, okay, you have a little bit of time. What are you doing differently? What can you do now? So it's like, reach out to the the lenders that you haven't seen in a while. Like you can do a lot of things through a phone. You don't really have to go. It is good to go and, knock on doors and pay, face-to-face visits with your referral partners. That is awesome. But sometimes they just want you to say hi, check in with them. And afterwards, you'll feel good about it. If the conversation goes well, then you know that you're not doing anything wrong. It might just be a little bit slower, but sometimes you need those little slower lulls, not too long, but, a day or two here, and that will really get your butt in gear to, to know that, hey, there's more opportunity out there. Let's go find it. Cause you never really want a lull, and they're dying. Those lulls are dying down a little bit, more and more, which is a good thing.
Yes.
It means that you're getting busier, and it means that, you're getting different referral partners sending you things, even though referral A might be a little bit slower, B might be slower, but now you have all these other ones that are, piling on too. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
know,
have one question towards that before I like get tactical a little bit on maybe talk pass and the language you use and the expectations you set. Is talk to me a little bit about pace. Like kind of what I hear from you is that when somebody shows up and they're a top producer, that they need a top producer pace, meaning you're coming to work with a violent intention of saying, hey, I'm here to play at a high level. And if I have lulls in my day, then I have some stuff that I low hanging fruit. I'm going to make cross sell dials. I'm going to make lender dials. I'm going to make follow up dials, whatever it is. But if I have 8 hours, look, you have a young kid, you have a wife, you have stuff to do, right? So it's like, look, when I'm here, and I'm going to talk to me about your pace and what counsel you give to maybe the younger producers. Is that a different pace, or what would you counsel to be able to get to that level to where all of a sudden I just went 8, 9 hours in a row at a pretty high pace? Doesn't mean you didn't take any breaks, doesn't mean you didn't take any lunch, doesn't mean you didn't take a breath or have fun at work, but there's some sort of intention that you show up with that it seems like, hey, I'm here to play.
I used to, obviously, this too, but I used to bartend, and like while you're bartending and while you're going through the day-to-day operations of a restaurant, you're not just doing one thing at one time, right? You're doing multiple things at one time, taking an order, making a drink, putting another order in, doing this, doing that, taking care of all these different people at all the same time. That's kind of the mentality I bring to this too, is like, you need to help out, you need to dial up a quote and also respond to an email about a service or something like that on another end. Each day I go into work, there's a checklist of items of things that I need to do. So when I get into work, I'm not going to open my email and say, hey, what do I got going on today? It's okay. I know I need to do this remarket. I need to bind this policy. I need to reach out to this person and get the inspections. There's a checklist of things that you need to do. And when you get that checklist done, you kind of feel good about it, right? You're like, okay, that portion is done. Now what's in my inbox? What can I hammer next? So I think that, and getting through a process, right? It did take me a little bit to get to a process of how I like things done, and it seems to be working. But every agent will be a little bit different. Like I know, for instance, like I don't have a scheduled appointment on my email where somebody can schedule an appointment. That works for me. It may not work for other people. It's just I like to always be open. And sure, like I have short appointments where it's like, hey, are you available? When are you next to free to take payment or whatever the case may be? So in that sense, I'll have an appointment. But yeah, it's really just about finding the process that works for you. And if the process is working for you, but you're still behind, maybe that's not the right process for you. Like, and I think it took me a little bit to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
It's almost like action creates like more action. Like you get
yeah.
in, you're able to knock a couple things out, and you're like, hey, what else we got? Right? I'm in action mode. I'm feeling good. Dopamine's hitting. Now I can breed more action. And actually, I was listening to a podcast the other day, because you like, look, I think I've had a lot of success appointment setting, but I think also one of the reasons of appointment setting is the outcome you're really after is more availability. Because if that person wants to do business right now, I want to be available to be able to take the call and potentially close it when they're ready to close it.
Hmm.
So I have to balance both of those things where I want to fill up my calendar potentially if that's my style, but I'm hopefully doing it to where it's more easy for the customer to handle it when they want to handle it. Because sometimes the worst thing you do when you go to book an appointment is like, man, there's no availability. I can't get this handled. And you're like,
Right.
I'm ready to handle it. Is there anything today? So if you do book appointments, there's almost like non-negotiable slots that you try to have every day that you got to have available because people want to do business, right then when they're ready to go,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
cool.
And how many of those appointments that are booked, that you have blocked off, that you say, hey, I'm not available this time, that they end up canceling. It's just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, such a funny saying and kind of dumb, but the best availability, what is it? The best
Yeah, yeah.
availability is no availability or whatever.
Yeah, the best ability is availability,
Yeah, best
right?
best
Yeah.
ability is availability. Yeah, yeah,
Don't
yeah.
get
So
don't get injured. Yeah, don't
yeah,
get injured.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I love how
So
you relate everything to sports, man. So like walk me through a conversation. Let's say this scenario. I'm coming to you. I'm insistent that we only do homeowners insurance. You've asked me for the auto. I'm closed down to it. I close on the home. What happens next? Do I get a follow up? Am I being cross sold at any time? Do you chalk it up to the game and now you're just worried about the other person of, hey, I asked 10 people. That was just one of my no's. What does it
mhm.
look like post closing if somebody doesn't move on the auto right?
So that's a good question. It really depends. If let's just say that the homeowners, let's just say it's a really great client, right? What I mean by a great client is they're communicative, they appreciate insurance, maybe they don't want the lowest coverages or whatnot. You can help with the auto. You're taking down the info. You're grabbing their driver's license number. You're grabbing their current address. Um, do they have children? That drive. Are they in high school or college or whatever? That's a good policy. It's going to be a good
Mhm,
premium.
mhm,
And if they're
mhm,
not willing to move that because there's too many moving pieces right now, and they don't want to find their declarations page wherever it is, or they don't want to ask their kids for their driver's license numbers, we have systems that we can do to find what or get close to what their current policy is, their limits, their
mhm,
vehicles,
mhm,
things like that. So if it's a good one, I'll go the extra mile and take the extra time to look it up and get over quote and say, hey, look, I don't know who you're with right now. I don't know how much you're paying. This is a preliminary quote. This is something that I think looks really good. And then
mhm,
when they see that, then their mind starts going, oh wow, okay, cool, yeah, that is really good. Let me get him over
mhm,
the things that he needs to get this going.
mhm,
But and then the other thing to do is just, I just write it down too. Like I'm a big pen and paper kind of guy, a little archaic, but if they don't want to move forward right away, or they don't want to send me the things right away, yeah, there you go. Um, and when I do have those lulls and closing was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they're moved in, they're comfortable, they're fine, then I can reach out there. So,
yeah. So
it,
you're kind of pre-qualifying the opportunity. If it's worthy of a follow-up, you're absolutely getting them a quote, maybe even making a dial
yeah,
until you kind of let it go to the wind.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. You're still setting that expectation, even if they don't want to do it. You're just going to let them know, like, hey, look, eventually we're going to help out with this. I understand you don't want to do it right now. Now's not a good time, but I'm going to follow up with you. Just, keep a heads up,
yeah.
whatever.
Let's
Yeah.
say you talk to 20 prospects, and all 20 are Floridians, meaning they have both their home and auto in the state. So not
Mhm.
seasonal, not second homes, not rental properties. You talk to 20 people. What is the ratio on the people that are receptive to do the car insurance right now?
Man, hopefully 120. Hopefully they have some friends too. 20 people. Hopefully you get 25 out of it. No, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
You would hope for the full 20. Obviously, there are things that sometimes they are in the best position, and there are some uh, some ways about going like quoting that is not going to save them money on the front end. For instance, if they're moving from a suburb area and
Yeah,
then they're moving into a city, say Tampa
right.
or St. Petersburg, you know that when you switch the address, it's going to increase their premium.
Mhm,
So what you can
mhm,
kind of do is pump the brakes a little bit, let them get their quote from their current provider.
mhm,
It's going to increase, and then they'll probably reach out to you and say, "Oh man, let's hit up Nick and see what he has."
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, it's all eventually, and like I was saying before, something that I lacked doing in the beginning stages of when I started selling. But Matt, kudos to him, he put together this nice cross sell list for me for the clients that don't have auto. So hitting that was very it was a big part of the recent success for the autos, because now we're going back and I'm helping those people out that I missed before. So
And what's that language look like? Hey, this is Nick. We worked together a year ago.
yeah,
Is
you,
it
because there's so many of them, it's just a quick email. That's all it is. It's
so
just a
you don't
quick
even
email.
you don't even need to pick up the phone call. Quick
No,
email. Okay.
no, quick email. You can get through. If you pick up the call, it takes a little bit of time, and who is this again? So if you send them an email, chances are you're already in their inbox, so they can put a name to the face, face of the name, and
Hmm.
then, oh yeah, I remember Nick. Okay, cool. Or if you just call out of the blue, you're like, Nick, who's this? My insurance is through a company, not you. And I'm like, oh well, I'm the agent. So there are those quick relationships that people kind of forget who you are. So that's why I always like to email first. Best case is if they get back to you right away, the next phone call should be to take payment because you have all the information already. So
So you'll email. Do you email them a quote, or do you say, "Hey, this is Nick. I'm super competitive." Like what? Give me the structure of the email if you don't mind, just as far as, and what's the responsiveness like,
mhm.
from just the email.
It's basically running the quote, seeing what we got,
Yep.
emailing them and
Using your
saying,
tools. Yep.
yep,
Trying to get something close to what. Yep. Got it.
yep. Or maybe we have the deck page from a few years ago, and we know what the coverages they have, and it's just a quick email saying, hey, are you still with Progressive, paying this much for your Toyota and your whatever Ford? If so, I have a really good policy with Geico, Progressive, auto owners. That looks really good. I
Mm-hmm.
just need your current deck page. The one I have is from a couple years ago, so we just want to check, make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And when you kind of approach it like that, I feel like I've been finding more success that way. Um, and it's yeah, not to use a snowball effect again, but it's been a snowball effect
You're
from when you help
farming.
someone. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, you know what? Can you help my boyfriend out? Like, can you help my mom
Mm-hmm.
out? Can you help
Mm-hmm.
my brother out? He's got some kids that are driving. He's getting hammered right now with freemium. So is there anything you can do? So I think that helps a lot, and not being afraid to say, hey, if you know anybody else that might need a little bit of help, like feel free to give out my contact information because
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
So it's like, again, I think it comes back to action creates more action. It's like the more I'm doing this, the more opportunity that's coming from it, and that's exciting. And to know, so what time of day is it scripted? Will you go in the morning and send these emails out? Will you leave at night? Do you have to block time to make it an intention, or is it just simply one of those lull activities that when you have a break in the day, you have a list that you go to and you start hammering? What does that look like from a time management standpoint?
Yeah, it's definitely a lull activity because the activity that you have in your inbox and the closings that you have and the quotes that you're getting back, you want to be fast.
Yes.
You always want to be the fastest you can. And if you're,
Hmm.
you know, sending the emails, it's a great thing, sure. But what's even better than that is being the fast agent, excuse me, getting the mortgage company the quote over that they might need to send out their final approval or whatever the
Hmm.
case may
Hmm.
be.
Hmm.
And I think that's how Matt and I have been so successful of getting these referral partners is
Hmm.
because we are very fast and actions do speak louder than words, and the fact that you give me one chance and I'll send you the best and the quickest than
Mm.
anyone out there. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Yeah. Again, it goes back to availability, though, right? You
mhm.
have to be available to be able to do that, and so you're setting yourself up for success. And I also think the lull activities for a producer, we talked about the difference between maybe the average or struggling producers versus the top producer. I used to like sometimes you'll have technology that'll go down, like your management system goes down, or
Yeah.
I was like, perfect. What is my tech went down list, right? For the next 30 minutes, instead of me just going to take a smoke break, I don't smoke, but if I did going to take a smoke break, I can go, okay, boom. Now I'm shifting to offense, and I don't have to slow down momentum. I may gain momentum because I'm going
Mhm.
to go to some sort of activity, or I'm going to be able to send these emails where it's almost just seems like a mindset of offense rather than I'm a victim or I'm at the mercy of the market or my referral partners or whatever it is. It's like I have kind of multiple ways we can skin this cat, but it all comes back to me talking to more human beings about their insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the vicious circle, right? It's like, your systems are down, you don't know what to do. Should you take a break? No. You're going to want to more opportunities, a better time than now to go out there and get them, reach out to a referral partner. You can't do anything else, you know, hit the cross-selling sheet, do whatever you can to just, stay busy really. I don't like working after hours. I rarely do it, but my day is like when I get in to when I get out is pretty full. You're on the computer a lot. Next thing you do, you look at the clock and it's 4:15, you got to go pick up your kid from daycare. You know, it's
See, there it is. But there it
yeah.
is,
So
right? There's another myth dispelled, right? Is that, hey, if you want to make a lot of money in sales, you got to work 24/7. You got to work weekends. You got to work nights.
no.
But what you're saying is like, look, I got priorities, and because I have priorities after work, I have an urgency at work that I have to get more done because I'm not going to work at 9, right?
Hmm.
Which is,
Yeah.
to me, it's a different frame of the same thing. So if people are out there and they have that belief, I would ask you to reconsider that belief, because you're certainly, proving that, because I know you do help with the kid both, before and after school at times, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's always tough where, you know, people they see the numbers and they're like, "Oh, I really don't want to work late." And you don't have to.
mhm.
That's a myth.
Yep.
But yeah, it's how you condense the work day is kind of how you approach it. And even if you have some things on your list that you feel bad that you can't get to, just reach out and say, "Hey, I had to run, like be transparent. I had to do this, I had to do that, pick someone up from daycare, do whatever. I had to run out early for a meeting. I'll get this to you first thing in the morning." Just
Mhm.
over communicate so they know, okay, cool, Nick's going to take care of it. And then that list, when you get in, you'll feel better about it because you know exactly what you're going to do when you get in. To go
Mhm.
back to what I was saying, my beginning of the day looks like.
Yeah. Well, it's cool is for the listener, we did an internal competition, and it was almost like a handicapped auto contest. So we paired two people together, and we took, was it the newcomers got the first round draft pick, and so Nick was the first round draft pick. So we did it. I think it was 2 months. Nick, the first month, what did you write? 21 autos.
I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
so. That was like 21. Yeah.
21, and then I think the second month it was like 19. Anyway, you end up
Yep.
getting, you almost got the W on both months, and it was
Yeah.
really, no offense, it was basically all your production. But what is cool about it is clearly the brand that you've established internally within Urban Young is a competitor, right? Like,
Yeah.
you dig the fact that we're going to line up and we're going to put pads on, and we're just going to see who's going to out compete, right? And I love that about you, and it's very clear. And I think the people that you're working with, I bet, get that without you being aggressive or putting people off. But there's just clearly a hunger. I think sometimes there's to me, the top producer or the top performer creates urgency when urgency is not required, right? So they're going to dictate the pace rather than play at the pace that's dictated. And to me, you're somebody that comes in and dictates the pace. And if you make a game out of it, you can see even more the level goes up. But for you to sustain the level of success, it's actually fun to look behind the curtain and see your numbers, because your book, in the book of business that you're working, the revenue compounds big time. And you
Hmm.
go, well, what's going on? Well, I'm writing a lot of car insurance now. And I'm writing a lot of premium over a long period of time, almost every single month. So I'm thrilled for your success, man. And I don't know if anything that you'd want to say to the listener, to me, as far as anything that's working for you that you think would be relevant and helpful. But I'm just grateful that you would share some of the tidbits that are probably only 5% of what you do, because I think a lot of what you do is innate.
Man, I appreciate that. I really do. The only advice I would really give is, it's okay to feel scatterbrained. It's okay to feel like you got a lot going on. There are times that I can kind of feel how my month is going, and the
Hmm.
numbers might not reflect it. But then when you get to the end, you're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. So just, I would, I would just recommend just like stay in the course. And if you have everything dialed and you know you have the best product and you're like, man, why isn't this bound? It's, take a step back and call them, do whatever you can to kind of win that business. And when the dominoes start falling, I think you'll really see a switch in mindset to okay, cool, yeah, this is the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the bartending reference. I've never heard that before. But it's like, let's use your common sense within the chaos. Like, the chaos is going to be there. You're going to
Hmm.
have your kid to pick up. You're going to have people that want quotes. You're going to have emails that you need to respond to. Like, that is the deal, right? If you're at a busy bar and you're at a busy restaurant, that is the deal. You're going to have more people that want drinks that you can get them quick enough. You're going to have people that want tables. You're going to have servers that need stuff, whatever it is, right? So the chaos is actually the environment that you want. But then throughout that, you're going to have to just manage it. Priorities. I'm going to have to prioritize. Okay, that guy's been over there, he doesn't have a drink. Boom, let me give him a drink. That server doesn't have a drink. She's behind. Let me help her. Right?
Hmm.
That's not going anywhere. And I think what I hear from you is like, that's okay. Like, don't
Hmm.
think you're going to come in as a
Yeah.
producer and say, hey, I time block from, because time blocking is effective, but time blocking is usually to give you something else. Maybe it's more availability. Maybe it's more time doing another activity that's higher leverage. But don't perceive that your day is going to be, hey, from 8 to 9 p.m., you're going to make these dials, or 8 to 9 a.m., right? Then you're going to shift, then you're going to be done, and then you're going to go home. You're never going to carry it with you. Like, that's not the gig,
Right.
right? That's the empty bar that doesn't do any business. You
Hmm.
don't want that because that's bigger problems. You want the
Yeah.
busy bar and you want to solve those problems. So that's kind of what I hear from you, is just inviting that it's okay to be chaos. And I love the bartender reference because I think a lot of bartenders do really well in our business, probably because of that.
Yeah.
Probably that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm used to doing a lot of things. I'm used to bringing a pace. I'm used to not coming to work and sitting on my hands. Like, I'm used to not looking at my phone for 4 hours, and all of a sudden I look up and the day's over. Dude, I could do this all day. I'm not going to because we're right at 30 minutes, man. Thank you for
Cool.
spending some time. I know you're about to close some deals the minute you get off this call, man. I really appreciate you, dude.
Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. I love sharing my story and processes, and yeah, let's do it again.
Fired up talking to you, dude. So, see you soon, buddy.
All right.